Hi guys, it's Darian. This is my TI presentation on love and intimacy. I have my note cards that have my quotes on them, and let's get started. We will never love the way that our grandparents did, and that's okay. We aren't missing out, we're adapting. Why are modern relationships different than those of the past? This question is answered in our textbook in chapters 13 and 14 as it explores the contrast of old and new love. We find that intimacy has evolved with time, and this has allowed us to love deeper and create lasting bonds with others as well as ourselves. I find that's interesting as I don't view love and intimacy the same way as my grandparents and the older generations do. My timeline is more convoluted than that of my parents, and the way that I view relationships is very different than the way that they view relationships. And that's what we're digging into today. We find that the need for children and marriage are no longer the main priorities in the modern world. Casual sex has become mainstream, no longer wholly negative or taboo, and most importantly, personal exploration is at the forefront of the modern life. So with that being said, let's begin. Babies won't save your marriage. A lack of communication won't save your marriage. We find that the need for children and marriage are no longer the main priority in today's age. Without world wars and famines and other variables that make extending your bloodline so difficult, we are no longer burdened with the need for children as the Americans of the past. And yet, I find that we still use babies as a reason to stay together when the only thing you really need to do is talk to one another. Modern love can expand more thoroughly. History professor Dr. Sylvia Schaefer said that it's not that millennials are better at being married, it's that when they finally marry, they find the right person. There's been more trying out. It's no longer just an act of survival or power. Our grandparents married quickly because they feared they wouldn't have forever with the loved ones that were fighting for freedom. And others from the far past married and sired young because of the enormous infant mortality rates at the time. Today is different. We live in a time of general peace and modern medicine. We can focus on our relationship maintenance. Like our book, The Interpersonal Communications Playbook states, relationships don't take care of themselves, and we make the time now so that when we say I do, it's more meaningful. Love now has the ability to be sought, harvested, and enjoyed without an expiration date. And then, for some of us, sexual needs outweigh the emotional desire for another human. Casual sex has become more mainstream, no longer a wholly negative idea or taboo. In the past, individuals were deemed impure and unmarriable if they were tainted by another before they were wed. We are tearing down this stereotype with the socially acceptable friends with benefits, or FWB. Arizona State University has defined this as an existing platonic friendship that incorporates sexual activity and is not designed to create a romantic or lasting commitment. The modern man or woman can have a sexual relationship with no strings attached, and they continue to focus on personal goals, whether that be college, job climbing, or even solo self-exploration. Or it might be simpler. You and your partner just don't check every box on that level of self-disclosure and commitment that we learned about in chapter 13. Ask yourself, do I want to take this relationship to a deeper level? Maybe not. Will this level of disclosure have a positive impact on our current relationship? I don't know. Do you know? Do you want to know? You both just might not be ready for a relationship. But you're not alone in these fears, and some of your peers are also searching for sexual relief without the binds of a standard monogamous relationship. And then arguably, the biggest change when it comes to the modern love is how humans are currently putting personal exploration first. Who are we as individuals? We're able to ask that question, and we can also answer it. Why do we feel the need to be with somebody in order to feel fulfilled? Who put that thought into our heads, and why do we deem it acceptable and continue to follow that narrative? The modern world has given us the privilege to explore these avenues. In our textbook, we can see how this allows for us to form healthier relationships. It's called the relational dialect theory, and it shows how you are constantly growing and changing when you're engaging with another person. Internal and external tensions are constant, and the way that we react to them can create a foundation for a healthy relationship to form with another person. This is a privilege our ancestors couldn't indulge in due to societal pressures to marry and sire at a young age. Professor Cherlin from Hopkins University said, "There's been a shift in Western culture towards what you might call individualism. A century or two ago, no one expected much personal happiness from marriage and family life. It was something you did. Now marriage, like other decisions we make, is all about ourselves. Marriage and love are no longer the capstone of our personalities, but rather a continuation of our own narratives. Through this journey, I have more questions for the ones that try and put me down. My accomplishments are more valuable to me than bringing a significant other to Thanksgiving, and they need to understand and accept that. We, as a generation, no longer settle. We are questioning outdated viewpoints, and we're choosing to go against the status quo. And because of that, the love that we build today, I find, is more impactful due to the personal journeys that we're able to go through. Taking time doesn't make us late, it makes us stronger. The human experience is wider than ever before. Marriage is not the leading factor of our lives. We can find sexual satisfaction with our commitments and without commitments. And most importantly, we put ourselves first in order to build better relationships. The modern age has given us freedom to evaluate and change. We don't follow outdated rules. In short, we are archaeologists, digging into our own subconscious and unearthing the rich depth that is ourselves, and choosing to share it with people who we in turn deem worthy. Thank you for your time.